Tech Bite Tips.
Welcome to another Tech Bite Tips video. On this video, we're going to be talking about the application named Readarr. That's our application for ebooks and audiobooks. It's a really good application if you like to consume this type of content. It's really good because you can find your Mobi, EPUBs, even PDFs online and organize it, and you can have your library well taken care of. Like, for example, one of my favorite series that I buy a lot of the books from is the Star Wars series. Before Disney changed the canon, like, there was a whole expanded universe, and it's a lot of books. So this application helped me sort it out and keep it in order, and it was great. So if you're into audiobooks, it's also very good because it can grab your books, organize them, and it's easy for you to access and use. And you can just listen to your book, for example, in Plex or something like that. So I hope you like this video. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and let's get to it. Welcome to another video. We're finally going to set up Readarr, our ebook managing application. And as you can see here, it's one of the R's. It's a C# based application. So it has a lot of contributors, 298 contributors currently. And you can find the information here in github.com, readarr/readarr. And this basically is an application that manages our collection of books. It works with text and audio books, so it works for both. And it is able to use torrents and NCBs to download the information and monitor a bunch of things like RSS feeds and indexers to grab your books from your favorite authors and sort them and rename them, etc., and keep your collection in order. And this is a very good app. Now that we have set up Calibre and calibre-web, we can now proceed and set up Readarr, which is the hard part here, like the core of automating the acquisition of books. So now let's get to it then. So we go into our NAS and we go into the registry and we look for Readarr. We'll see Linux server Readarr, so we double click it or right click and download. And in here they don't use the latest tag, so we're gonna go for the latest that they have, which is a 3033 develop as of now, could be different later, and we select it. And it's going to start downloading. You can always check the version by going here and going to the releases, and then in the releases you'll see the latest version here, which is 033. So that's how you know which version is the latest. Okay, let's see if it downloaded. It's still in the process. Let's give it a little bit of time. Be back when it's done. Alright, it is done. We can clear this notification here. And now we can go and look for Readarr and double click it. Then we go and say next. We rename this as Readarr. And we enable resource limitation and auto start. We click here on advanced settings, we check. And we need to add the 3 typical variables. So we go first with the time zone. In my case, America, New York, which is the Eastern Coast. And then process user ID, then 26, process group ID, 100, which is the usual for Synology, and we say save. Then we go next, and the container is going to be listening on port 8787, but we want to expose port 8086 because we're going in order from 8080 all the way up. And that's all for the ports. We go next here, we add Docker configs, and we should have Readarr here, so we select it. And we add downloads completed Readarr here, and we add media books, and the first one is going to be mapped to config, the second one is going to be mapped to downloads, and the third one is going to be mapped to books. So we go next, we validate our information is correct, we leave that checked, and we click done, and that will create our container. So we should see it coming up here. There we go, Readarr. We select it. We go into details and log, and we monitor it to make sure that it is working. and now it says now listening. It means that it's ready, so we can close out of here, go into the IP of our NAS and put port 8086, and then we'll get here the user interface for Readarr. This might have been configured before by accident, so that's why I prompted here. So let's put Readarr. Yes, and that's looks like I configured this by accident before, and I did not delete the configuration file, so it's gonna be quite fast now, I suppose. Yeah, there's nothing here, so we go into the settings. In here we'll go into media management. Yes, we have this here, but we need to delete it because it was not configured properly. So let's delete. All right, now it looks more like what we want. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click here on the plus sign, and then we're going to name this books, and the path that we provide is going to be /books. So we select that, and that's where we're going to have our books in the end. That's where Calibre is dropping our books, and this is going to be the final location for our books, so that's what we specify. And for the added authors, whenever we add an author to Readarr, we want it to monitor all the books. You can pick whatever you want here. If you want only the future books, whatever. I leave it as all books. And then here, I don't really change much. I just leave it like that. But then here's the important part here. We need to make sure that we are able to synchronize with Calibre and use Calibre, because Calibre is the one that transforms our files from one format to the other. So we're going to check on this box here that says use Calibre, and then we're going to specify the IP of our NAS, which in this case 10.0.0.73. But then we said that the Calibre server is going to be listening on port 8090, so we say 8090, and then we put the username that we created for for Readarr inside Calibre. We put it twice, the username and the password, and then the Calibre library we leave empty to use a default. And the format, we said that we want it to be in Mobi format, so we specify that we want Mobi in here. And in my case, I'm going to go here and select Kindle Paperwhite, because that's the device that I have to read my books. And that's basically all the configuration that we need here for the root folder, so we save it. And now we have it here. Next thing we have to do is we have to map our container path to the path in the downloaders. So we're gonna click here on the plus sign, and then in the host we select the IP of our NAS, and then for the remote path, remember that we had downloads Readarr in our downloaders, but locally that points to downloads. So we select downloads here and we save it. So now we're mapping that our folder contains whatever is inside the downloads Readarr in our downloaders. And next we're going to rename the books. So we check that box and we replace illegal characters, so we leave that there. And here we get an example of what the naming of the book will be like. Will be the title, and then that's the folder of the book, and then inside author name and the book name. So that's good naming for me. So, and then here if we delete a book from the library, we just mark it as ignored, so it doesn't try to download it again. So now we can go and save changes here, and that's good for this part here. On the profiles, I honestly don't change anything here, so we're gonna leave it as it is. When we go into the quality, I also do not make any changes here for anything, so we leave it like it is. In custom formats, I do not use this either. So when we go into the indexers, since we already configured Prowler, so we received those indexers from Prowler. This was done and I forgot to delete it, so if you come from the other videos in the series, you'll see the original list was empty, and then I had to go into Prowler and set it up, but that was already done. So you will see them here once it syncs from Prowler. And the next thing, we go into the download clients. Here we don't have anything, so but we do have this, which is the mapping of the location with the remote download clients. That was because we did it before. If you don't see it, make sure you have it like this, which is the same that we did on the media management part. And now we're gonna add our download clients. So we're gonna go here, select SAP NZBD, and we grab that information from Sonar. So we come here into the downloaders, we pick SAP NZBD, and we just start copying that. It's a lot easier to do it like this. IP of our NAS, then 8081, because that's where SAP NZBD is listening, then the API for SAP NZBD, then the username and the password, which in our case is both SAP NZBD, and the category for this is going to be Readarr. Actually no, for SAP NZBD is books, if I remember correctly. So books, and then in the recent priority we make it force, older priority will also make it force, and basically that's it. We leave the remove completed here so that it tries to clear it up after it processes the file, so it doesn't show up in SAP NZBD after, and we can test. Okay, we're having a problem here because the category does not exist. So let's look at what I did wrong here to fix it. So let's go 8081, SAP NZBD, log in, and then here we're going into the categories, and oh, here's the error. I put book instead of books, so let's fix that. There we go, now it's books. So now we should be able to come here, test, and it works now. So we can save it. And we are going to do the same thing for qubit torrent. So we go into the torrents, qubit torrent, we go into Sonar and copy everything from Sonar. So we come here and we copy the IP of our NAS. Port is 8080 for this one, so we copy the username, which is qubit torrent. The password is the same, and in here, yes, it'll be Readarr because we specified the name of the application. And then here for priority, nothing, priority, nothing, state for start, and we don't check any of this, and we leave that checked so it tries to remove it once it's done processing, and we test. It was successful, so we save it. Alright, so now if you don't see the remote path mapping, make sure you specify the IP of your NAS, downloads Readarr, downloads, and that should be good. There's nothing to save because it's auto saves when we save this, so we're good to continue. If we go into the import lists, I don't really do anything here. In the connections, I also don't do anything, and in metadata, we can say that we want Calibre to write the metadata into the book, so we can select this. And what else? We can also remove the existing tags from the files, so then we can save this. Those are the changes that I usually make here. And what else here in the tags? I don't do anything here. In general, we just validate some things. Here in general security is where we have our API that we use for Prowler, just know that. And we specify the username and password using Forms login so that we get prompted for a user and password whenever we try to reach Readarr. And yeah, that's it. You save those changes. In my case, I don't have to save it because I had it already configured. And the UI, I don't make any changes here, honestly. So that's all the configuration that we need here. So if we go into our library, now we see that it's empty, and we, in theory, should be ready to start using the application. So let's give it a try here. I don't know what kind of author we can pick. Somebody that comes to mind would be something like Stephen King, maybe. He's got some great, amazing books. So you could pick the author here, and As usual, we can say, do we want to monitor all, or if you want to change that, you can say none, and then you manually add them. Let's do that. And monitor new books. Yes, all the books. The quality profile, ebook, because I don't want an audiobook. If you want an audiobook, then you can specify that, but it's up to you. And then we can just add Stephen King. And then when we go back into our library, we'll see that he shows up. It's populating the data for this author, so it's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen. So let's refresh it just in case. Okay, so that's done loading Stephen King. Let's just add another one, J.R.R. Martin, for example. What's that name? J.R. Martin. Dear God, I don't remember his name. Game of Thrones. Alright, George R.R. Martin. That's why. So let's say add him and look for the books too. Nothing has been sent to our download clients yet. Now we have George Martin here. Okay, this one is populating, right? Something was wrong with Stephen King for some reason. I don't know. It's not loading his information. Maybe that's why it was not working for us. Okay, let's try with George Martin. Let's see if it pulls something on its own, since I said monitor everything and try to grab everything that you can. So let's wait a little bit and see if we get something sent to our downloaders. Oh, it's already processing releases. Okay, so it should be sending stuff. Let's just wait for it to do its thing. Okay, it's processing releases, so soon we should get a book somewhere here. Checking the indexers, looking for that book. Alright, 25 releases. Come on, do we get it? Sent to SAB. Here we go. So he grabbed the book, it downloaded that from SAB and ZBD, and now it's processing it. It completed, so it should soon start the import. We see that it's 100%, so soon it should start importing. And it keeps on grabbing other books. As you can see, it's grabbing a bunch of books for this author from SAB and ZBD, so that's looking good. And now it's importing, so you see it's pretty fast. Alright, so it is working. It just was a little bit of a problem with the previous author that we were trying, but it works. Alright, so to conclude here, we're seeing that it is looking for a lot of the books here for George R.R. Martin. And if we go into our SAB and ZBD, we see a lot of downloads happening. And in QBitTorrent, we also see a lot of things being downloaded. And here's the tricky thing. If we go to Calibre, look at how amazing this is working. All the books are being automatically imported to Calibre, and they are being converted to the Mobi type that we wanted, and that in turn is being fed into our Readarr. So Readarr now should keep track of, okay, we have this book here and we have it in this format and stuff like that. So it slowly gets populated with all the information when it connects to Calibre, and it'll eventually mark all of our downloads as completed when it's done importing and processing all of that. So if we go into the other application, oh, here we go, we saw how it imported something here. In here with Calibre, remember the thing that I said that you can send books to your e-reader? Well, it's getting really slow because it's working on a lot of things, so let's give it some time here. Let's be patient. Okay, let's go to calibre-web for a second. Let's refresh here to see. Okay, here we go. So all the books that Calibre already processed and put into our final destination that we should see in File Station Media Books, author George R.R. Martin. Then we should see all the books in here. I don't know why it has several, but yeah, it has several for him. So it's putting them in the final destination. And if we go to Calibre, Calibre connects to the database calibre-web connects to the database of Calibre, and that shows us the books that we have here. And if we want to read from our computer, then we can just come here and select the book that we want to. Oops, sorry, I refreshed the page while it was working, so here we go. So if we want to read the book, let's say we want to read this one that says A Storm of Swords, you can click here, and here you have information about the book. You can edit the metadata directly here. You can download it to your device if you want. This one is an EPUB. It didn't convert it to Mobi. But if you want to read it, you can read it right here in the browser, where it says Reading Browser. From here directly, you can send it to your Kindle also. So let's read in the browser, and boom, it comes here. And it's so nice. It's very fast, snappy, and it looks like a book, like you're actually reading a book in here. So as you can see, calibre-web is pretty useful. And if we go back to Calibre, let's see if it's responding now. Yeah, if you have a book that you want to send to your e-reader, you can basically select it, and then you have options. You can convert the book here, for example. If you want to do it manually, you can convert individually or in bulk and stuff like that. And if you want to send it to you, you can probably right click on the book and then go here where it says send to device. If you connect your Kindle directly to the computer, if you're running Calibre in your computer, you'll see the Kindle here as a device that is connected, and then you can send it there. And another option here would be the connect and share, where you can then go and say, okay, send it to my Kindle email address, and then it'll send the book to your Kindle address, and then your Kindle will download it automatically from the Wi-Fi, and you'll see the book in your Kindle. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that we could see everything in action here. It's a little slow because now we're working with several things happening at the same time. So Readarr is now importing books that were put in the library by Calibre and stuff. So it takes a little bit more time for Readarr to get updated with the books that you already downloaded and have, but eventually it'll do it. Here, I don't know what's going on, but it's not converting the EPUBs to Mobi, and normally it does it. I need to check why that's happening, or maybe it'll do it later. But yeah, it's working. That's what I wanted you all to see. So that's gonna be all. Hope you find this useful, and remember, you can always leave comments in the comment section saying things you would like to see in the channel. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, that would be really appreciated. If you would like to donate because you like the content that you want to support me to continue creating content like this, there are links in the description. You can do a PayPal donation or through Bitcoin. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you like it. See you on the next one.